All right, I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
We're back.
We are temporary hiatus. I think. I
We
think
were
the best
both busy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So work bullshit. So
I was busy on Monday. You were busy so I was busy on Sunday. You were busy
I
on
was
Monday.
busy on Monday.
Yeah.
Today I was busy, but not all day. So
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I mean, there was a chunk where I had a lot of stuff to do, and there's stuff I'm going to do later on tonight. But
yeah, I'm off later tonight, man. I got as much shit caught up today, and I was just like, I'm done. My brain's cooked.
I got you, but I have to level with you. I do my best work like after midnight.
Yeah,
I really do, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
I do that when I have to write. I'm definitely better when the house is like quiet and there's nothing going on.
See, you get me. Well, that's my entire job.
Yeah, I don't write as much as you do, but that's the only time I ever actually get any of it done. So
I imagine you still have to do some from time to time with.
I have to do
Academic
more
stuff.
than I would like. So, but whatever. Oh, and I write about very esoteric things that only about 4 people are going to read. 5, but I haven't asked you. I know you're busy.
I'm never that busy, Patrick.
That's okay.
Except when I am, and I will tell you that's the truth when it happens.
Dude, I've been using the ChatGPT so much, so to actually edit my shit.
It'll do a good job.
It is fantastic
Yeah,
at
it'll
it,
do a good
man.
job.
So, and then you just get in there like, no, that's not what I meant, and then you change it a little bit, and then you wash it through the machine again, and it's like, oh, this is perfect. And thank you for not doing it said in such like a god-awful wordy way that I was. So, it's pretty tight, man.
It is. It is. I've worked with that kind of stuff extensively, and
Yeah.
I've also spent the past, I guess, month now, basically writing every day. So I mean, I can tell the difference. I can also say that it does wipe you out. It does wipe you out creatively.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. That's why, like, I'm not on a treadmill like that, man. But like when I write, I gotta walk away from it for 4 or 5 days before I can look at it again. So otherwise, it's just garbage. Yeah, I know you can't, man. You're on the treadmill. Yeah.
I had to get stuff caught up from before to get to current now. I guess I won't lie; it's wiping me out. But it is getting results. That I can say.
That's good.
That is. We looked at the data the other day, and very, very positive.
Good. That's good,
Yes.
man.
Oh.
Yeah. So you hitting a nerve. You finding the right target audience out there for your stuff.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
All I can say is that it is much better than what was there. So that also means at this point there's a number of experimental avenues that I'm trying, just different kinds of styles and things like that. There are weird decisions when it comes to things like this. Like when something is contingent upon someone else as the brand, right? That can be kind of like complicated because
Absolutely.
When somebody, if they turn that over to you, right? That was where one of the big fights was. Is like, can't you figure this out? I'm like, no, like. It's not that I can't. It's that, do you want me making the decision of who you are?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So this is no. Everybody must attend this meeting, and we all have to decide on a business level what that is going to be going forward in order to maintain consistency. Yes.
Yeah. No, I
Yes.
got you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. People aren't good at that.
You know, I feel great in terms of I think you and I are sort of in the same there's the same like kind of general attitude that came with growing up in this neighborhood. There's a very humble people, very
Yeah. Generally.
I mean, yeah. Nobody around here was really like big braggadocio or anything like that. But
No, not that kind of neighborhood.
it's just that's not the kind of friends we had just for the most part. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, like, promotion and self-promotion are things that you have to do.
You must do it.
Correct.
You
now,
must do it.
if you can shift that to somebody else, which in this case is me, I have zero problems promoting someone else.
No, me neither. Yeah.
And so I feel like that's been worth my fee already.
Good.
Because having to do that yourself is so shitty. It just doesn't feel right unless you are that guy or that girl.
If you're trying to put your foot out there, then yes. Yeah, that is true.
If it's not within your nature to be that kind of person already, right?
Yeah.
Then it's not like standing up in front of a classroom. It's not like standing up in front of a group. It's totally different.
It is, especially if it's a different audience.
Yep.
So, I guess I've gotten more comfortable with actually taking credit for my accomplishments over the years. So
Politely, though.
But I do everything kind of tongue-in-cheek on anything that I do.
Do you?
So,
Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
do. So I'm a little bit better at, like, kind of tooting my own horn, but doing so in a way where it's like wink, wink, nod, nod, kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's a line on my thing where it's like I got put up for 4 out of 5 teaching awards.
Wow.
Yeah, or something like that. And I said, but I only got free lunch at all of them, so I won every time.
That's pretty good.
Something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So a little self-deprecating humor mixed in with like legit immodesty. So just because, well, I mean that's the thing. I mean, in academics, you kind of have to do that a little bit, otherwise you do get bulldozed. So
Well, if you're too pushy?
No, if you're too meek.
Oh,
if you're too meek, you definitely get bulldozed. So your shit gets co-opted is what happens.
That's
yeah. So, well, in consulting's the same way. I've seen that happen to people. So, where someone just absolutely, oh yeah, you did a great job on that project. You mean the one that you came in at the last fucking week? Basically signed your name to a couple things.
well, and when it comes to actually like consulting itself, the actual programs and stuff like that, I don't think there's that many original ideas left to mine.
There aren't. Dude, Business Lit is fucking dreck. I write it for a living, Jeff. I mean, you can find cool stuff, but if I ever read an article about the difference between managers and leaders again, I think I'm going to get in my car and go shoot somebody.
It's weird who's catching a bullet, and it's sort of random. I don't know why.
It's that guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know why the dude at the Maverick station was going to catch one.
No,
for
man,
that,
he's cool. He's not a manager or a leader. Nor would he try and tell me the difference between them or why one is better. I can't do it anymore, man. I have no tolerance for that shit.
Oh, hey. So this week, my article was about the difference between productivity and stress.
Okay. So you talk about the sweet spot where you're in the zone. So
it wasn't called the zone, and I didn't.
It's called. You're right. It's called something else.
And I didn't quote it out that way, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. It is called something. It's flow. It's called flow. Yeah. You probably ran into flow, that word.
In this case, it was referred to as. I use the term equilibrium.
Oh, that's clever. I like that.
That's
good.
Right, because it is what it is, right?
That's a good way to put that. I don't think I've seen an article actually do it that way.
My job, Patrick, is making metaphors. That is something that ChatGPT doesn't do well. They'll come up with them, but you have to thumb through it. You have to,
it's kind of like asking it jokes, like taking random things and putting them together and say, tell me a joke about X, Y, and Z. Yeah. You have to do it about 10 times before you get one that's kind of like, that's cute,
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
No, so that was the distinction here. So it's like, so where do you draw the line between pressure and stress, and what are the difficult parts? And it's like, all right, well, let's presume that
productivity, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Which suffers distinctly once you get to the stress point, up to 30%.
Oh yeah, your cortisol goes up like measurably. Yes. That one's been around for a while, man. I'm glad you found a new spin on it.
Well, as I said it, I said, all right, so let's presume that I'm your editor and I've assigned you a story to write. Mm-hmm. Okay? Said, I don't care what it's about. I don't care when it's due. I don't care what the topic is, right? And you say, that's great. Okay. So you disappear and nothing's happened for a little bit. So I'm going to come in there and say, all right, well, I'm going to give you a little bit of pressure. So I want this in 2 weeks, and I want it this length.
Yeah.
So a little bit of pressure gets you to actually dial things in.
Yeah.
Right? Then what I do is I call you in another day, and I say, well, one of my guys dropped the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to pick it up.
I'm going to need you to pick it up. And I need you to understand that if this story doesn't come out well, the office will close down.
We will shoot you. Yeah.
And change that male character to a teenage girl because we have a sponsor, and make sure that you mention Fanta orange soda 17 times.
Now it's stress.
Now it's stress.
Yeah. Fuck this fucking place. I'm out of here. So it was like, I got all this work to do, but I'm going to go drink beer.
Yeah.
That'll make me work faster.
Yeah, and then you go to the data, so that's the kind of and that's all data that you know all about. So
I teach it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, and that's it. And like, I mean, specifically, I teach a lot of leadership shit, and it hasn't changed in like, well, it moves in very small increments.
What's the hot thing right now? That's what's the thing in business that is this decade's hotness? Yes.
I couldn't really tell you because I don't look at all of business, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of stick my nose on supervision stuff. That's the thing that I usually do. More so than anything else, but I'd say the big questions that people are still trying to answer is what's the right balance between remote and in-office work? What are the benefits and perils of both? Because we got a lot of data out of COVID. It's all garbage. So because it's all it goes one way or the other, So there's no variance in it. There's no controlled test. We closed this King Supers, but we left this one open.
Exactly,
there's none of that.
Yeah.
So it's no, we closed all our corporate offices and kept all our warehouses open. It's that doesn't tell us fucking anything.
Right.
And so that's been a big one that's been going on. Digital marketing's getting really difficult. So
in terms of getting anything out of it.
Yeah. So your run rate on a lot of that stuff is really terrible. Everybody is so ad avoidant that's a big pain point that a lot of people are trying to figure out. And the other one is the one that you've been talking about is basically how do you make money off AI? Everybody kind of recognizes that it's going to be a big fucking deal. So, but a lot of it is free, kind of like the early internet. And so it's kind of well, there's going to be some people who already beat you. I've already seen people doing modeling with it and financial, analysis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can do all that shit for free. So you just ask it, and so it'll tell you. And so, and you can always tweak it to whatever you want. And so you still have this, I was talking to a colleague about this the other day. You have this thing where it's you can ask ChatGPT about Colorado law, but when it comes down to it and you're putting your name on a line, so you probably want to talk to someone who exactly.
Yeah.
The same thing with a doctor, there's a lot, doctors using it to tell patients what to do is phenomenal. So, because there might be research out there that they have not had time to read, but they'll recognize it as legit. And they'll say, "Oh, thanks. Let me go read that ChatGPT." And then when we go talk to this patient, I didn't think someone had Lumiere's disease or whatever, and it turns out that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So but then there's a lot of other things. It's just bad at, and or it's redundant, or it's instantaneously you can identify that it's generated Drek, which like is no different than all the listicles that we've had that have been written by human flesh and blood over the last 20 years.
Well, that's because of what they've fed it.
Well, yeah, okay. There's a lot of data out there to pull from,
Okay, no, I got you, but you're absolutely right because if the only food you're going to feed this thing is basically like dried ramen, right? You can't sit there and say like, "Yo, man, why are your bones so like bendy?"
It's just like flaky, Yeah.
Just your hair is falling out in clumps,
right,
man.
Oh man, yeah. You smell sea salt around here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right because at this point, I mean, so what it is it's kind of like a pretty darn good like personal assistant when it comes to like looking shit up.
It's a super duper version of Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well,
it's like
it's a Wikipedia that can also do math. I mean, that's the other thing.
It's great for math.
Yes.
So
yes.
I've actually imported some statistical analysis into there, and rather having to code all that motherfucking shit myself, I'd just be like, hey, can I regress this against this, this, and this? And it's like, yes, give me the data. It's like, here's the data. It's like, here you go, buddy. And I was like, can you put this in an APA table? It's like, bang. I'm like,
Yep. And the fact that you can just ask it like a human being is that's the interface. That's the
it's really neat.
That's the Star Trek computer. Tell me how many planets in this system would support life on a Class M level, and it'll say there are 6 planets that could do this. Okay. Narrow it down by the 3 closest. I mean, that's
exactly what you're doing. The
Yeah.
only thing is you just can't quite trust it like the Star Trek computer database.
Correct.
Yeah, because it could be filled with dried ramen.
I'm going to tell you what. Nobody on Star Trek ever asked the computer to write a poem. Nobody ever asked it to. No, they all did their own.
They had their own thing.
But that being said, I wouldn't doubt somebody within that. This is where the fight's coming in. What AI is going to do, this is the way that I see it, making money is in saving money. Is anything...
Oh, it'll be great at that.
Yes. Yeah. Is any jobs that can be spared that are essentially doing that, right, will be spared by doing that.
Well, and the other thing, it would probably be really good at things like year-over-year analysis. So you take a budget and say, oh my God, this is getting out of hand. And it's saying like, what are other companies spending on this? And blah, here you go. Kind of. I mean, that's the stuff that in the past that you would pay a shitload of money to companies like Williams, to try and figure out, because they would actually poll all that shit, amongst their clients. I wonder, that might be like one of those areas. There's a couple of them out there, man. That like seem pretty obvious, but and really beneficial. I mean, I can tell you right off the bat that it's going to be beneficial for scientific research a lot.
Yes.
The question is whether or not, like the Academy might take this, like you didn't actually climb that mountain, or, kind of thing.
I know.
And it's like, yeah, I know. I used a rope. Come on, man.
No, you're right. And the ones like, I think you and I talked about this before, is... having an AI comb through, like, looking for, like, cancer cells or stuff like that.
That's fantastic.
Yes, that's wonderful. Same thing like when...
solving, like cold cases and stuff, pulling data from multiple databases at a single point in time to identify, like, oh, here's that guy. He lives over here. This is his fingerprint. Yeah,
that definitely that, too. And same thing goes with... not just like patterns like that, but I mean, there's a lot of applications in there that is going to be exceptionally helpful for, which is why it's kind of bothering me that some people are giving it a bad name right now. I understand that it is the boogeyman in the in the quote unquote creative world. But I'm sorry, man. It's just...
I have very little empathy.
Yeah, that's the thing, is if you find yourself offering so little value that it can replace you in this regard, then you have thought too highly about yourself and what your talents actually are.
Well, either that, or you just, like, the market's moved on you and you're not willing to move with it, so... You know, I mean, like what William does is perfect. I mean, he was in all that shit, and he's like becoming a master at it. And so that's exactly what you should do. So you know, and so if you're going through an art college and they're busting out all the Conte crayons, that's great. Yeah, you do that today. Tomorrow you play with like whatever image generator is out there and see if you can create the art again. You know, whatever. So I mean, you still want to learn some of the basics and things like that, but.
I mean, look, here's the other component to this here is when you take some of the heavy hitters of the art world, right? If I go ahead and look at what some of the wild swings are over my years of studying art history and things like that, all right, I can basically tell an AI to create art in Van Gogh style, but it won't be a Van Gogh.
Right.
Because he was fucking nuts. And you can't, I mean, that's the thing, is
right.
I can't go to this thing and say, like, all right, so I want you to create this painting. It's like, okay, of this. It's like, all right, now I want you to keep these things in mind. It's like, okay, tell me. Like, there's a lot of suspected things that could have been going on with this guy, but we're not sure. It could have been schizophrenia. It could have been. It could have been because he's painted these many times. This could have been a toxin that came from the flowers that were in the room that he hung out with. People did experiment with this and saw the stars and the moon in the sky in kind of a weird way. Okay, so you want me to paint what now? And that's the thing it's not going to be able to capture that I don't want to say defect, but the uniqueness of
well, unique is something that it does not do. So
no, because it's an aggregate of styles. Yes.
Yeah, it can't. It can't. It's literally a series of regressions. So, yeah.
But yeah, if you find yourself being replaced by this stuff, it's again, it's you and I have said this, is in the history of all mankind, tools have always replaced jobs. Society has not ended yet.
No, and it won't end.
The power stat says it won't.
It won't. Yeah. No. Yeah, otherwise we'd still be drawing stick figures on caves. So
most certainly.
Yeah, no. It'll be great. So
were there like douche canoes out there like that were complaining? It's like, wow, this automatic thresher is going to put all of us out of business.
Of course there were. Yeah.
What happened?
They got different jobs.
Yeah,
and everything
it's true.
was fine.
No, they moved to the city. Yeah.
Yeah, they moved to the city. I mean, technology fixes a lot of problems. So, in fact, most problems.
You usually grow more food out of it, not less.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So, and usually the GDP line go up. So.
All right, so I did look a little bit more into the folly of vertical farming.
Okay.
All right.
That's rando.
Well, no, this is one of those things that always comes up with the 15-minute cities and stuff like this. All right, it turns out that, yes, it is cool that you get good yields out of it with basically only water. You do not use soil for this stuff.
Right.
Right? But it also turns out that you can't grow shit other than, like, lettuce.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So vertical farming is a fucking joke.
This is where they tier it alongside of a building, right?
Or inside.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so they, like, stack it up. Got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it goes
that makes
to the
sense.
ceiling, and basically the water kind of goes through the...
Like a car wash. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
You put the chemicals in it. Yep.
Yeah.
And you just pull them out of the side because the roots aren't in actual soil.
Right.
You can basically grow lettuce. The yields on these in terms of things that actually adapt to that environment, very small.
Well, and most of your root crops like that are, very small anyway.
Well, that's not even a root crop, I wouldn't think.
I don't know if it is or not. So...
Well, that's the leaf, right?
It is the leaf, but I thought... Yeah, I guess a root crop is like a carrot.
Carrot.
Yeah,
Potato.
okay.
Oh, well, no, is a...
Potato's something
It's a
else.
tuber.
It's a tuber.
Yeah.
I think a carrot is a tuber, too. I thought a root crop
So
was something
really-
where the roots died with the plant.
Like ginger?
Unlike corn, or wheat. Because wheat, you just slice off the top and
Yeah, you're right.
the roots still go.
You're right.
I can't remember, man. I don't know that much about farming. So
No, and it's not coming from the flower, so it's not a fruit. Like we're like a...
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, you can't feed
Yeah.
a society off just lettuce. So
No.
yeah, or cabbage or any of
No.
those things. Yeah, no, and I mean, yeah, like, I was reading a little while ago, like almost all of the lab grown meat stuff has kind of died on the vine. So
I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. Like, is it prohibitively expensive or what? I don't know. Yeah, I'd rather not murder like millions of cows every year, but
I wouldn't either, but at the same time, this is something that has literally been part of our society since we've had a society, right?
yes, yeah. In fact, people learn to eat vegetables so over time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Originally, it was all meat.
Yeah. That's true. It's funny that you say that because, yeah, theoretically that means that our oldest ancestors must have had, like, shark teeth.
Well, they eat like berries and stuff too. So
Well, I mean, if they were meat eaters, yeah, I mean, they would the ones with the sharper teeth would be
I think they just had bigger jaws. So
that too.
yeah, I don't think they had shark teeth.
Well, because in theory, I mean, that's the thing is it would have, when it became an evolutionary advantage to have like more, molar power and that kind of thing versus ripping and tearing.
Well, I thought the whole idea was that we stabbed our food before we ate it. I don't think we actually just like jumped on the back of a lion and.
I guess the question would be to look at the chimpanzee and see like where its lineage comes from. What I don't know is if there are any monkeys that actually do have
Shark teeth.
Yeah.
There might be. I don't know, man. So
I mean, that being said, if you get in a fight with one, it'll still bite your dick off. But
no, it'll just rip it off, man.
it'll do that too,
yeah.
man. It'll fucking gouge
Rip
out your
your
eyeballs
face
and
off.
shit. Fucking things are vicious.
Well, yeah, and they're like 3 times stronger than like the strongest dude out there. So just in terms of like actual tensile strength.
Right.
Yeah, and to think that people used to be like that is crazy. So,
Well, that's the thing is it's all about firearms. It really
firearms. Yeah, exactly. This is why the zombies will lose. They don't have sharp teeth.
They don't.
They're slow. And we have helicopters.
We do, and fuck it. Despite how nimble they are, look, you can still machine gun the shit out of a chimpanzee. I mean,
oh yes.
you can. I would argue maybe a shotgun's more effective.
Against a chimpanzee? Yeah, sure.
Possibly. I mean, if the thing is
I
rushing
mean, a
you,
machine gun's gonna work, man.
but people panic with those.
Well, that's why you get more than one shot. So.
I'm just saying, man. Like they'll tear through like 15 rounds like super quick and then be fumbling around.
Yeah, but if you just think about evolution, we did evolve to the machine gun. There's a reason why we use it. Yeah,
that's true. Fucking monkeys are not going to do well against like artillery strikes and
right. Yeah, that whole movie where they just like tear apart humanity with their bare hands and sheer testosterone is just not going to work.
They'll get some people. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, they'll get some.
We will suffer casualties.
We will learn from that though.
Yeah. But again, that's the thing is if it comes down to it, we have to put bayonets back on the rifles. We'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, in a land with FPV drones and thermal optics, I think we're good, man.
Yeah, that was the other thing that AI would have been really helpful with was when you remember when that Malaysian plane just disappeared off the grid?
Oh yeah,
and they were asking people to they were giving out the satellite data and asking everybody to report if they saw something.
Yeah,
I think AI would have done a better job with that.
He'd be good at that. He'd be good at missing persons reports, stuff like that.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
So, no, there's quite a few things that, I mean, it kind of fits the mold, it's like the question of like how monetizable it will be is up for grabs because, to be blunt, man, like since Facebook, it's been difficult to monetize on the internet. So, like Amazon, I was looking this up because students were asking me about Amazon's margins are razor thin.
Like less than 1%?
I think they're like 1.3.
Okay.
So, or something like that, depending on how you count it. but it was a lot less than I thought. And so now, and a lot of that is, of course, AWS. So,
Sure,
which,
yeah.
you know, I mean, that derives a lot of revenue, but it also costs them a lot of money to do.
Right.
And then, like, the actual retail, it's just depth. I mean, it's just breadth. You know, it's an ocean wide
All
and an
volume,
inch
yeah.
deep. Yeah, it's all volume. So,
Well,
you know,
wasn't that Walmart's model for the longest time too?
it still is. So, I mean, Walmart's king daddy of retailers, and it probably will be for at least another 15, 20 years, unless something crazy happens.
Well, the terrestrial.
Yeah, people like Walmart,
Amazon,
man.
yeah.
That's terrestrial
Well, they also
Amazon.
sell food. I mean, this is the thing.
You sell.
yeah.
You can buy groceries on Amazon too, though, but they come to you via Instacart or whatever.
Right.
So they're still coming from Kroger. You know, not all of them, but a lot of them. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's. You know, like if you didn't get big early, you know, you got like Apple is actively turning itself into a fucking bank. So
That's all they've got.
it really, well, they got a shitload of money. So that's kind of what you do when you have a shitload of money. You start lending it to people.
It's a smart move because
Very smart.
they haven't really pushed the envelope on tech in a while. No, in fact, they've kind of gotten a little bit conservative on it because. There's a this was sort of like the gaming talk in the same regard where the returns on technology for games has been diminishing for a bit.
It has.
And the same thing goes for like phones can only go so far now, right?
Well, and people are hanging on to them a lot longer too, man. So yeah, because I mean, it used to be, you know, oh shit, what do you got there, man? That's got colors. So
Yeah.
he was like, wow, that's a really clear screen. And then it's like, whoa, man, you've got 3 bars.
Got 3 bars.
Yeah.
Like the first time, it's like, check out my tactile keyboard, yo.
Oh, yeah, I had 2 of those, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like, man, I've had the same phone for a while, and it still functions just fine.
Right.
And so you do hang on to them longer, and they've gotten so expensive that you learn to kind of baby them.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're on some kind of plan where you get a replacement one every few years, you're like, well, if I have to replace this one, man, that's like $1,200 and I'm out. So, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, and so yeah, like the phone market, gaming's there. Movie's been there for a decade now.
Yup.
Music has been there for 2. Yeah. So yeah.
Given that it didn't have a visual component, that's correct.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So I don't know, man. Yeah, no, gaming is really interesting. I've been looking into that a lot more lately.
Have you?
I have, man. I'm actually teaching myself how to make a game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I found a little like tutorial thing with a little 3D engine. I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do
Well, that's
this.
fantastic.
Yeah, I got tired of playing. I got tired of playing games.
You went back to Red Dead. See,
I'm done.
I was gonna say, like you're in a bad way when you go all the way back to there.
I just wanted to go see it again, so I was like, visit for a weekend.
Well, I think that I haven't been in the mood to play anything, nor have I really had the time. But
Yeah.
I think I have been looking at that Space Marine game, that Warhammer
That one
game.
does
It's
look
like-
kind of interesting.
and a lot of people have been saying like this is actually just some old school fun.
Yes.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Such a thing exists, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy, he does these animated shorts, and he did a riff on it. It was fantastic. It was just guys screaming at each other and pounding things into the dust.
Well, I look, and I'm going to tell you, I am versed with the lore of this stupid universe.
I am not, man.
I have long since thought this was ridiculous. Especially the fact that the construction of this was satirical from the very beginning.
Oh, is it a like Vanderhoven thing?
Almost. Well, I mean, the thing is so over the top, right? That you should have been able to recognize it as satire from the beginning, but people glommed onto it because they're like, well, I kind of like this though, and so it started developing its own like continued lore over time.
Well, it's the miniatures too, right?
That was where I got interested at first because I'm like, these are awesome.
They did look cool.
It's like I don't want to learn this complicated ass game, but I love the look of these things.
Yeah.
And that's when the guys showed me. They're like, they have like books about this. I'm like, really? It's like, how many? It's like, as many
Thousands.
shelves are in the oceans or whatever. It's like, huh? Okay, so it's not.
Like, well, wait a minute. What have I stumbled onto here?
It's not. So Stephen King didn't write the book about Slaanesh or whatever. It's like, okay, got it.
All right, cool.
You guys have a lot of staff writers. But
It's fan fiction before it was a thing. Yeah.
well, like, all right, that's cool. But there are some aspects to it that I find very charming, like the look of these things. Again, it's just some parts are like so dumb where it's like, so the emperor's like body is on the throne. He's not dead, but he's not alive, and they have to sacrifice 1 million souls to it every day so that it makes space travel possible.
The spice must flow.
Yeah, exactly. There's like,
Does he shoot it out of his mouth? Yeah.
it's just like a skeleton on a throne, but he's wearing like gold clothes. I'm like, you'd have to be in a special place to think, whoa, this is cool, but there's certainly grounds here for a fun kind of game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh.
So I might play that.
Okay.
As I think I'm finally getting caught up on all the things that I need to be ahead on.
Wow. My gaming time is going to be a little bit reduced because the back half of my semester is busier than the front half. But it's like, we're almost to November already, man. It's just going to melt off the clock fast. There's just like, I don't know if it was true when you're teaching high school, but there's something about second quarter that just zips right by and it's done. So, it's always first quarter and third quarter that drag ass.
Third quarter takes forever.
The third quarter is the worst. It's like 3 times longer than the others.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is this fucking, and it's weird, there is this like space-time rift that is fucked up that around April,
oh, it's bad.
it just starts stretching the days longer.
Yeah.
It's intolerable.
Yeah, the third quarter is the worst, man. February is the doldrums. February, March up until...
Well, February sucks. The weather's terrible.
It's a full month of classes.
A full month of classes. You don't see the sun when you leave. You don't see the sun when you get back.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's like the gulag.
It's the worst month. And again, maybe that's why, fate has decreed it, the shortest. But
it is the shortest, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's not the reason. I know that it was robbed by the Caesars to...
Both of them, yeah.
Because their months had to be...
Dude, that's pretty boss to make a month after yourself, and then to have another guy say, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna have another one,"
and be like, "Wait, his has how many days?
Oh no, mine.
It can't have more than mine.
Have more than mine.
Well, where are you gonna get it from?
We're gonna take it from that
This
one.
one?
There, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That was Rome.
Yep.
Fascinating place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feed the emperor with 1,000 souls or 1,000,000 souls a day. Yeah.
There's like a historical precedent for this, I guess. But, yeah.
Oh, so this isn't a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So
no, it's in the grim darkness of the future.
Oh, gross.
That's how all the books start. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They get their own scroll in the beginning.
It's in the intro of every book. That's where the actual term grimdark comes from.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now.
When people describe a genre as like, what is this? It's like
Grimdark.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. After the Great War. Huh?
So there's no like.
This isn't the Jetsons' future.
It's not.
It's not.
It's
Where
no.
People work 2 hours a day pushing buttons.
Well, I mean that. Okay, so the satire of the Jetsons was brilliant in its own regard. They understood something about human nature that remains true to this day. Was, you set this place in the future. We have taken away almost all of your difficulties.
Yeah.
And the time that you spend at work
It's
pressing the goddamn
awful,
button,
yeah.
and you call Spacely a slave driver.
Yeah.
Because your job has been reduced to one button.
That you push for 2 hours a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you got a computer that does most of the work.
That is correct.
Yeah, you
Yes.
just watch him.
That's correct. Like, you have conversations with Rudy. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, he's sentient. He
is.
He tries to give you, like, advice about, like, what not to do. He's like, you know, and he's kind of like, you want to pay your taxes, you know. And
Wait for the deadline.
And George is dumb. He's kind of like, oh, not gonna miss me. There's so many people on the list. I mean,
Right? Yeah, I'm way down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I only make $4 million a year.
exactly.
I'm small fry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be a vice president of what? I've only seen like one other employee there.
You know, you say that. On top of that, yeah, I've never seen the actual manufacturing wing of Spacely sprockets.
I don't even know if
what
they're actually
you make.
sprockets. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you make.
Yeah. But that's like Fallout stuff, man. At that point in time, it's like, yeah, no, the most valuable thing that we can make are cogs and sprockets.
And you do this in the same city. Like, it's not like Cogswell Cogs is in Space Florida or whatever, and George
It's still
is
just Florida, man.
Yeah.
Future
No, they're all
Florida,
above
yeah.
the ground, man. There's the
Right.
That's where the argument was that the Earth was flooded like years ago.
Did they ever actually show the ground?
I can't say. I mean, that's the thing. Is this seems like something I'd remember?
Like they went camping or so? Well, they go to a place that was on a pole. Like Jellystone National Park.
They would, or they go to another
dish.
planet. Yeah, that's
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they did have space travel. So
What I can't remember is I feel like so there was a Jetsons Flintstones crossover.
there was.
And I think that may have answered some of those questions, but I don't remember.
Is that the one where he got exiled to the moon?
I feel like that happened like 5 times.
Okay. That because there was like a Jetsons the movie.
Yeah, you're right. You know,
and then
because
there was,
I'm thinking about something else.
There was a
you're right.
crossover between
Yeah.
them and the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like
Stunningly
that-
similar shows.
They're easy to pitch, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
so you know the Flintstones? It's like, yeah. You know how it's in the past? It's like,
I think I know where you're going with this.
Like, what are the differences? It's like, so Fred's fat. It's like, yeah.
We'll make him skinny.
Yeah.
We'll swap the ages of the kids. Or no, we'll have 2 kids in one family rather than 2 families and 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cut it.
I mean,
What, 300 episodes by next week?
300. It's like, how hard could it have been to pitch Jabberjaw? How hard could it have been?
Scooby Doo.
You know Scooby-Doo?
He's a
Like,
shark. Speed buggy. you know Shaggy?
Scooby-Doo?
No, he's fine. He just has a car instead of a dog.
Well, in this case, Scooby is the car.
Is the car.
That's the hook. He is the means of conveyance.
Right. This is more convenient. Yeah.
And I don't think... here's the thing, is if that's what they... I don't think they had a single rubber stamp that said no. I don't... I think... What would they have rejected if this is what
If they had
passed?
Snagglepuss in there, I have no fucking clue. So
What is Snagglepuss's appeal?
I don't know. He's after some celebrity, so we could probably think of it if we thought hard enough. But it's not so obvious like some of the other ones.
No.
I mean, dude, they were still like Jabberjaw talked like fucking Curly from Three Stooges, man.
Did. Yeah.
So that was already 40 years removed at that point in time. So
was it? Wow, how far back do the Three Stooges go?
They're 1920s and 30s.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you mentioned that. I was...
but like two of them lived very long, if I'm not mistaken.
They lived long enough to get completely ripped off by the studio. That's right, because their story is tragic.
Yeah.
Because it's way fucked up. No, I sent you that thing a little bit back about Moe's racist language from The Simpsons.
That Moe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. Because I was thinking of that episode where he said he was one of the original Little Rascals.
Oh, yeah.
That joke cannot work in 2024. Because...
Dude, there are tons of Simpsons jokes that can't work in 2024. I mean, they had to fucking freeze Abe Simpson, so...
Oh,
because
right.
he would be the last living World War II fighter. Out of all of them, man, yeah.
Yeah, I was stuck on that. I was like, he was the little rat from... Again, like the 30s?
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't work anymore. So,
Yeah.
well, and the same thing with Homer. I'm President Kennedy. It's like, bull fucking shit. He was like 9.
Because that's the thing. Isn't canonically, isn't Homer Simpson like 38?
I think he's always been 38. Peter Griffin
Something
is
like that,
perpetually
yeah.
42.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. When Homer Simpson, when I passed him in birthdays, I was like, this is fucked up.
This is weird.
Yeah. It's like, man, that guy don't look 38. You know?
No.
Yeah, no. Different time, man.
Quite. Yeah. Since what, 1988?
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, like, they do all the flashback episodes where he's growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got, like, posters from the 70s.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky. But, I mean, it's not that often that shows last that long, so...
No.
Yeah.
I heard they had a head fake a couple weeks ago. It was just a stunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said, surprise final episode, season or series finale. And it was a joke. So, and everybody's like, fucking...
That's actually kind of funny. Well, that's actually kind of funny, too.
It is kind of funny, but, you know, it'd be like... Then if they actually did that the next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. I haven't watched that in a long time. So...
You know, there was nothing wrong with it when I was watching it a couple of years ago. They had done some of the stuff where this was after they decided that no minority's voice shall be done by a white man.
Oh,
so,
Hank Azaria.
Yeah, so it sounded stupid. I'm like, you know, I shouldn't care about this, but
that was one of his best characters, man.
Well, I was like Lou, the cop. I was like, this is. Like, you changed his voice. This is so
yeah, no, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, and I guess that was the thing that stuck it to me. It's like, I was there in '89, man. I was buying Butterfingers and all this stuff. It was like
Tracy Ullman show.
It was like your entire like thesis and attitude of this show was like defiance from the very beginning. This is acquiescence in the pussiest way possible.
Well, it got completely taken over. I mean, almost all of their writers have always been pulled from Ivy League schools. So
they're one of the ones that set the trends on that, yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They totally did, you know. But then, you know, like the people who actually grew up in real America aged out of that show.
Oddly enough, yeah.
And then it started getting all weird, you know. And, I mean, that happened to a lot of teams. So the bend on that one was a little bit less than some of the others, you know. But still, at the same point in time, you're right, it did happen. The only show that hasn't changed a lick is fucking South Park. So
I would argue that show's changed a lot.
Well, I mean, in terms of, like, we're going to write whatever the fuck we want to write. So...
Yes. I would argue that the style upon which they write
totally changed.
Absolutely,
yeah,
right. You can kind of pick up like Not just artistically, because you can jump in like those first few seasons and say like,
where they're actually doing it with construction paper. Yeah.
And then you can hop in later on and see like, all right, they started turning this corner, they changed the storytelling here. This is this era of this
the Tigrity Farms era.
Yep. So I mean, the
Cartman's girlfriend era.
See, that was funny.
It was hilarious.
Way funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. There's the part where the God, it's like 6 seasons in too. It's maybe even earlier where they
kill off Chef.
I mean, there's that too. Yeah, so basically that's like pre and post Scientology.
Yeah.
But the original, basically the girl that did all the voices, she died.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And it was tragic too. Again, it was another like weird thing because I never knew the history of it. But yeah, it was odd.
Yeah, and Simpsons still got all the same voices, man.
Mostly, but like.
Well, I mean, other than a couple that changed, but the same. Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Homer are all the same.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
Mrs. Krabappel, she passed away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Harry Shearer passed away too, didn't he?
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, his voice was like, he had like 5 characters on that thing, and so it's kind of like finding another Goofy. You can find one. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
I think he did. I might be wrong about that. So, but I think he did.
Maybe I don't know. I don't remember hearing that, but yeah, I know that. God, what is it? I can't remember the name. Forget it. I can't remember the name.
Of who?
So.
Character?
Phil Hartman.
Oh, Phil Hartman. Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
He died a long time ago. Yeah. He got murdered, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he got killed by his wife.
He got killed by his wife. Yeah. That's right. I remember that. Yeah, he was the old Saturday Night Live guy. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember him. So. There's a show I haven't watched in 30 years.
It's not for us, dude.
It's not for us, man.
It's
so bad. Yeah, it's so bad.
It's awful. It's network television, dude. They
There's nothing good. It's wasteland. It is pure fucking wasteland. And even like the sports are getting off of it now, man. So, I mean, I just got done watching postseason baseball, and fucking half of it was on TBS. So,
that was unheard of in our childhood.
That was impossible in our
Right.
childhood. They were like, no, you can have a few basketball games.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. ESPN used to be the place to go for like college basketball.
Oh yeah.
Not March Madness,
No.
but regular season games.
Yes. If you wanted to watch
yes.
the Air Force Falcons, you could catch them on ESPN too. Yes. So,
Yeah, and they'd be playing somebody like Rice. Or I'm not picking on these places or Baylor
Rice
or any
is
of these
a
other.
very good school.
Yeah, I'm not picking on any of these places. I'm really not. But you wanted to see at that time. All right, so that would be like the mid '80s, I would think.
Yeah, you want to see UNC or.
Well, I would say you wanted to watch Notre Dame. You wanted to watch
Notre Dame, Michigan.
Yeah. Some of the big Southern schools, Alabama,
Kentucky.
guys like that,
Yeah.
Texas.
Texas is more football teams, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So, Texas and the Sooners.
Oh, actually, wasn't TCU's
TCU
basketball team? Weren't they awesome?
Yeah, Texas Christian. Yeah.
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Yeah, you definitely want to watch. Yep, we knew a guy who worshipped at the feet of that team. That we never figured out why.
He had family there.
Yeah, wasn't he originally from there? So
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
But briefly.
Yeah, exactly. He was like moved when he was 2.
Yeah, briefly. But yeah, he had family there.
Okay.
And those are the other places like UConn.
UConn.
And Wake Forest. Wake Forest was always, the tree. Yeah.
Yeah, Wake Forest. Gonzaga. So
there you go. Oh, you said UNC.
Georgetown.
Yeah. Georgetown,
Yeah. So, no, there's, now it's like network TV. There's nothing on it. It's completely irredeemable. It's so bad. I mean, I get stories about how bad it is rather than figure out what was actually on it.
It doesn't move the needle anymore. There's nothing. They have zero influence at this point.
No, and I mean, like, all the late night shows, they just get universally panned.
Well, you either. All right. They have completely given up on trying to expand outside of the audience they get.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise,
there you go.
An executive would have gone to Jimmy Kimmel and said, "Would you shut the fuck up?"
Right, yeah, otherwise we're going to kill you.
It's like, you're free to believe things that you want, okay? But this whole thing of basically chasing everybody out and crying when you don't get your way is not bringing in the new audiences.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We are not talking about the... What was the golden era? I presume... I can't
Early
say... Early
90s.
Because, there's no way it was Carson because he ran the show, especially,
No, it was when you had Letterman and Leno, and Saturday Night Live was good.
Okay.
Then the late night shows with Conan were great, I mean... Because if you stayed up even later, you got even edgier humor,
Right.
And then that died with Craig Ferguson when he got ran out. So, then the late show was like, wait a minute, who's this, milquetoast dude? You never just
God, it really is bedtime.
Oh, yeah, going to bed, yeah. I don't have to get up, but I don't want to either.
Oh, yeah, because if you push through back then, if you push through, that late show, with whoever that loser was, and I can't tell you who it was, it's only, 2 more hours before, fucking, Kate Nally is on,
Or you get the national anthem, and then...
Well, you have to push through that, but the 4 o'clock shows that were
I was
open
never
with,
up for those, man. I was never up for those, but yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago, though, man. And I mean, that's when that's back when cable was really expensive. So it was like a privilege, And then it started getting silly after the Netflix era, and then after you're like classic early aughts, run of decent sitcoms.
Yes, there was a revival. There was
a revival, yeah. But then even those, they probably ran a little bit too long on some of them. And and then like Fox has never had a good late night show.
So I could make the argument for Arsenio Hall.
That was but that wasn't late night, man. That was on at 8.
No, not at 8.
I think it was.
No. Because their block of comedies or whatever wouldn't end until 9.
Okay, so it might have been 9.
So probably 9
Yeah, it might have been 9. Yeah, but I didn't see that one as competition for Saturday Night Live. It wasn't even on the same night.
Oh, no, I wouldn't see it for that, but because it was a weekday show.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, but they never had that lineup where, after the local news at 10:30, bang, that's your late night show.
No, they went straight into Arsenio.
Yeah, exactly. They never had that for years, so until they finally started setting up affiliates.
Yeah, that's true.
But then they never followed up with a show after that. It'd always be like, oh, yeah, it's the fishing guy. And come on after the news.
Oh, my God.
It's like, yay, reruns of the 700 Club. Ooh.
Burlham, some of those channels went straight into program length advertisements after the news.
You're right, they did. Yeah, they did. So, Got to get your shake weight.
Oh, I'm talking way before this. I'm talking about the Big Green Clean Machine. I'm talking about the Miracle Blade 2. I'm talking about...
Yep, you're right. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Flowbee. I'm talking about the...
It wasn't that long ago. Come on, man. So...
Yeah, it was. It was. That was one of the things that was advertised on there.
Okay, I don't remember that. I do remember the Miracle Blade. And I mean, well, and sometimes they'd have, like, you know, these weird, like, English cooking shows that, you'd never seen before. So, you know, not like the Julia Childs PBS ones. It was like, who the fuck is this guy, you know?
It was just some dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I imagine that person had some esteem in whatever avenue they came from, but at the time, my knowledge of international chefery would have been at its all-time lowest. Yeah. You know what? And actually, I forget. Fox at 9 o'clock for some time, they would run the Rush Limbaugh program.
Yeah, they did. They did. Fox, like cable Fox or Fox, like network Fox?
So it was on Fox 21.
That's network Fox.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's because it ran during the day. So you get the follow-up one at night because he'd always run it during the day. His show was on at like noon, so it was weird. But then, again, this is before they had any news affiliates. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where you would see, like, Rush Limbaugh. You would see just a little bit of political programming, but that's where you'd, like, the old shows with William F. Buckley were on there.
On rare occasions, man.
No, they were regular. So, but they were all reruns because he was dead. So, yeah. And the 700 Club, they always had that. And then, like... They always had like a church service every morning too. So
they did. And certainly on Sundays too. They all did.
It was definitely on Sunday. Yeah.
And a lot of the other guys did too. Like I know Denver's too had quite a bit of that, but that was a cable channel.
That was a cable channel. Yeah. I thought you. Yeah, I know you're right. That was a cable channel.
Yeah.
That was the one with that clown. What was his name?
You're talking about the actual Bozo the Clown.
Bozo the Clown. No, he was local. He was actually in Denver.
Okay, you're right, because Denver's 2 would also show shit from WGN.
It would.
Which was where Bozo comes from. He's from Chicago.
Yeah, but they had a guy from Denver.
But you're right, there was also a...
And he had the old blue beard and everything.
There was a Denver clown, and it was weird. It felt cheap. It felt...
Well, it was a local PBS thing that moved it.
Look... we're the last generation that will know anything about this.
Exactly.
Nobody behind us is kind of like, the fuck are you talking about? This is real. This is
Five Nights at Freddy's shit, man. It's like, no, man, you don't understand. We used to put children in front of these things.
It's like, this character of Krusty is making fun of this.
Yes.
In particular, this is a pastiche of a number of local fucking clowns around the country.
It was around the country.
Who had bullshit local celebrity.
Yeah. They were. They did all the kids programming. So
yeah.
For ages and and you'd have legit puppet shows.
Dude, again, that is something that people will not understand. Is the
They had one with a lamb. I remember that.
Oh, you're talking about Sherry Lewis's, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Lamb Chop. Yeah,
Lamb Chop.
That was,
Yep, there we go.
She was national, but there were local like
there were.
Yeah. People just don't know. They don't realize like what television used to be.
No. It's always followed up by Mr. Rogers. So.
I'm not turning a corner on him or anything. It's like he was good at what he did.
He was great. Yeah, don't buy any of this shit about him being a Vietnam sniper either. That's all bullshit. He's a Green Beret. He had 37 kills.
Is that
like,
the
shut
story?
the fuck up, Twitter. You know?
Is that one of the the stories?
Yeah.
Is that the same place as Marilyn Manson had one of his ribs removed so he could suck his own dick?
Yeah, that probably came from the same website.
It probably did. This is the same place where, like, depending on which era that you came from, it was either Rod Stewart or Donnie from the New Kids on the Block that had a Coke can's worth of semen pumped from their stomach because they...
There has been multiple, like...
Yes.
That has been attributed to multiple people, but yes, I've heard the Rod Stewart one. And
Rod Stewart was I understand he's the originator, but
my understanding was he was always the front runner.
Yes,
of that.
yes.
But I've heard that about multiple people. So, speaking of which, the Diddy volcano has been erupted again.
It has. I'm still waiting for, like, it hasn't fully erupted, so, I mean,
no,
that's
man,
the thing.
but it's like 9.2 on the Richter scale, dude. She's gonna blow.
She is, and it doesn't matter, how many 57 Chevys you drive into the volcano to appease.
Sorry, guys, this one's not gonna work out, man. This is a lactose intolerant volcano, man.
Like, I don't care what you think, man. Fucking John and Awuda are gonna get lavaed, and it is what it is, man. Like that. It's gross.
It gets worse every time that I read about it, man.
It's gross.
Yeah. So, was it yesterday, or the day before? There's like new charges dropped, and it's him and an unnamed celebrity raped some 13-year-old girl. So
right,
yeah,
that celebrity will be named.
Absolutely, that yeah, and
because otherwise it's just you.
Right? Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, it's got to the point where nobody's even questioning that.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah, it's coming, man. It's coming. So.
Well, I mean, that came up today. I was joking about it with the people on the call and stuff, and it had to do with the Diddy thing, and basically like the weird shit that really rich people get up to.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to, because we joked about it before, basically like. We don't think, at least on that side, it's like, we don't think the Romans were inherently gay. But we think that the rich ones just got very, very bored of just regular stuff. And it's in the same vein if you look at the statistics now when you look at kids that were basically introduced to sexual things at a very early age.
Right, yeah.
Pornographic, stuff like this. You look at them later on in life because
they do not live vanilla lives.
No, because the regular shit is boring. I was like, there's a class of kids out there right now. Well, not kids, but like 20-somethings that are weird, sexless weirdos because regular life is just not exciting for them.
You got exposed to internet porn when you were 8. So
right,
yeah,
right.
Which is literally drinking from the wrong side of the glass.
You're correct. Yes, and I can give you a lot of materials that say you should not be exposed to this kind of stuff before a certain age. And so this is where the Diddy thing came in as like, it's just like what wealth does to certain people, man. It's just kind of like, yeah, you got bored. You got bored of.
Well, I don't know if the causality there is in question. So, do you have a weird person, but wealth lets them to live that stuff out, or does wealth make people weird?
I think it is 6 of one, half a dozen in the other.
Well, I think it in an individual case like his, the directionality actually matters. So, these are discrete events, because otherwise it doesn't allow you to make a conclusion one way or the other. I mean, so okay, we want to fix this problem. Well, don't let anybody get rich. No, that's not what we're talking about here, right? So, and then at the same point, well, weird people, castrate them all. Well,
all of them?
All of them? Only a couple of them.
And him.
Yeah, only a couple of them are ready to get dangerous,
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things where, he didn't come from any kind of, wealth.
I don't know his full, background story.
Yeah, he's not, from my understanding, he's not quite street kid quality, He didn't Ice Cube it out, so... But, there's definitely an element to him that's a little bit off. I guess that's being really generous. So,
well, I mean, I don't know if generosity is really the piece of it here. Again, it's the same thing where it's hard to separate the mythological upbringing that the studios said around this person. It's like, oh, they came from here, they came from the Marcy projects, they came from this, because that was the attitude at the time. It's like, okay, so Pat, you've seen it.
Marketing shtick.
It is marketing shtick. Yep. You have like 4 Jewish guys, 4 rich white Jewish guys.
Yeah.
Who know the music industry inside and out, and have a list of things on this notepad because they're smart about this stuff, and they say, all right, we've done the research. Kids really like this, and this, and this, and this.
Go find me one of these. Yeah.
You look the part. Could you speak for me? Yes, sir, I can. It's like, no.
No.
You know, more urban, more streets.
Urban, yeah. It's more Lamar.
Right. I should feel struggle in your voice, right?
Pain.
And so, yeah, it's just say Tupac was the funniest example. I'm like, you are a theater major. That's who
didn't
you
he
are.
go to like Juilliard?
Yeah, you are a queer theater major, and they're going to make you out to be this tough-ass fucking street gangster.
Well, you get your ass shot for it, too, man, so...
Again, these things are now in question. It seems like there may be more to this.
Oh, maybe. Wasn't there a documentary on that not too long ago that was talking all about
There's documentaries about everything. There's documentaries.
I know, man. Yeah. They're insufferable, too. So...
You and I think the same summer, you and I both came to the conclusion that documentaries were not news. They were not to be trusted. They are not...
No, they're not to be trusted.
There was a moment where for a while, for many years, I kind of took them as fact.
Well, you expect everything to be Ken Burns' fucking Civil War, you know?
Baseball for me.
Okay, baseball
but Civil War for you.
Yes, sure.
No, that's fine.
Well,
that's fine.
the Civil War one was first, so yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But there you go. You know, you expect this. It's been meticulously researched and carefully curated. So
and true.
True.
And yes.
Well, yeah, but then we started realizing that if you say it's a documentary, then people don't instantaneously write it off as bullshit. So...
You want some more?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was Super Size Me or a Roger Moore doctor, or not Roger Moore, Michael Moore.
Yeah,
one of the two of them got me, and
it was Spurlock got me. Yeah. So now there's been a couple decent documentaries, you know, that have come out, but you know, Spurlock, once you realize, like, yeah, because they get always like invested in this, it's like, wow, this shit's really bad for you. And the doctor's like, you know, well, you have to stop this. He's like, oh, okay. You know? Right. And it's like, wait, well, what? You know? So where's the part where we have to, like, remove your spleen? You
right.
know?
Bro, you are talking about the goal. Again, this is the same thing. Survivor Season 1, where people like you and I thought that they were actually marooning people on a fucking island, and there was it's like, these people could die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
this is happening right now. I need to watch the paper every day in case somebody dies. So.
And then we got 2 episodes, and it's like, they're not gonna die. All they do is get in gay arguments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and that was the show.
That was the show. Yeah, they were going to make spears. So. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah. So, there's been so many shows like that, though, man. And then, like, for a little while there was like, okay, this is a documentary. Okay? So, this is well researched and, you know, fact checked and stuff like that. And then you start getting got on some of them, you know.
So, one after another.
Some of them were so fascinating, too, man. I remember you and I talked about some of them sometimes. I said, oh, you check this shit out about this fucking commune in Portland that took over a town and tried to poison a city, you know. And
at the buffet, if I recall, yeah. Something
yeah,
like that,
none of that actually happened. You know, I know, man. I mean, now there were elements of that was true, but then it just gets spun into a yard. I was like, wait a minute, I thought I was watching like a new version of Jonestown, you know, that I didn't know about, you know, but no. you just spun this into a 6-episode series where basically all the weird sex happens in the first one, and the rest of it is just plot crap that you wrote. Yeah,
it is. Yep, you're talking about the things that. Again, the thing that got us really... Because here was the thing. Then the veracity, like, once we stopped trusting it on cable, we thought that the real deal was on streaming where it was unfiltered. Then we all watched Making a Murder.
Right.
Which had problems.
Yeah.
Then we watched Tiger King, which...
Which we only watched because we were all under lockdown at the time, and it was like perfect. It was like this balm, for everybody.
Well, listen, man. If there was no disease, none of us would have been watching that shit.
Lord, no. It'd be like, that guy didn't run for president. So, yeah, no, man.
It's like, yo, man, you gotta watch. I know you got time. You gotta watch this?
Yeah. No, there was a series that we talked about it back. It was like Making a Murder. It was the guy who pushed the lady down the stairs. You remember that one?
Yeah. I do.
So, yeah, and then the whole thing about, like, the girl who disappeared in France, or wherever it was.
I vaguely know what you're talking about, and it wasn't just the one person that fell down the stairs. It was like 4 people died in that exact same spot.
Something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you go and you're like, well, let me go look into that. Well, see, what they done fucked up about this was they tried to milk it into 4 or 5 episodes.
Yes.
Okay, and then by the 3rd one, you'd be like, wait a minute. So this would be pertinent information for you to tell me in the first one. So if you were actually an honest broker here, but then you figured out the model, what they were doing, they were just teasing you with stuff. But then the thing that sucked about it was then they started releasing the entire drop at once. And so you'd waste 5 goddamn hours before you started to realize, it was like, wait a minute, I smell Survivor in my soup here. It's not saffron.
You are absolutely right. No, and you know what? And that was the funny thing, too, was all the ones that... if you look at the top of my fridge, those are the ones where after you watch this health documentary, and they convince you that the answer is professional juicing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the health ones. And
Do you have any idea how much pulp I threw out in like a month?
Jeff, I remember your garage used to stink like broccoli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I remember that. So... it's the healthy one. Although, like, there are still times where, like, I go to buy the chicken nuggets and I do remember the chicken.
Look, some of that's real. Okay,
it is real, So
and wasn't that the same one where, like, the turkeys had gotten so big their legs broke?
Yeah, that wasn't Super Size Me. It was like
it was
unhealthy, like fat, stupid, and something like that. Fat, sick, broke, whatever. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah. No, and we all got suckered by those for a couple of years, and then I think it was definitely Making a Murder. It was Making a Murder or How to Make a Murder.
It was Making a Murder.
Making a Murder. That was the one. It was like, wait a minute, these guys are full of shit. It was like, wait a minute, what was the name of that town? Let me go look this up. Yeah.
Yeah, if you read the shit from like what the reporters were saying on a day-to-day basis in terms of what was presented, like, look, don't get me wrong, they presented enough stuff for me to say, wow, this is fishy.
Oh,
like,
it's definitely fishy. But...
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Right? It was that they decided to make the conclusion. And that's not how you do things.
That's not a documentary. That's a story.
That's correct. It is sermonizing. Yeah. It is
right.
Again, that's when you and I would skip to the last. We went Netflix diving there for a little bit on the documentaries, and what we do is we'd skip to the last 15 minutes to see. Okay, this guy's selling gold. This guy is...
Oh, yeah, they'd always summarize it.
Yeah, it was always, what was the pitch at the end of this that they were trying to get you into?
Yeah.
And if there was a pitch at the end, we stopped watching. Because we were cleaning them out.
Well, yeah, no, and I mean, you could tell that... I mean, you could always, it was like a template, and you just fill in, like, whatever the story is, whatever the situation is. So, you know, you get to the point in time, you establish some act of violence or something like that in the beginning. Then there's a shitload of backstory. Okay, and then there's a little twist about 15 minutes before it ends. And then you get the summary, and then you get the hook for the next episode. And it's like, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motherfuckers, you know.
And you wait, and you're like, this is just bullshit TV.
It's just bullshit TV. It's bullshit TV, man. It's
It was.
You know?
Now again, there were good ones out there. So like, here's the thing: is at the end of Jiro Dreams of Sushi,
That
right?
one was great.
It's just the story of this family,
Yeah.
and these traditions and the world around them,
Yeah.
and it's beautifully shot, and you see the world that they're in. There was no.
There's no sermonizing.
That's
in it.
correct.
Yeah.
There was no version of this where they're like, "Isn't it so sad that this is going away? Isn't it so sad that there was never a McDonald's next door? Isn't it so sad?"
No, they actually do you the favor of allowing you to think what you want to think in there.
Yes.
So, unlike the one with the whales, you know, so where it's like, I'm going to sit here and
Blackfin.
watch.
Oh.
No, not Blackfin. The one with the whales in Japan and the.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
Did you ever see that one? Where they herded all the dolphins that way, and they have like this 15-minute gore scene in it. And it's like, well, I can't watch that and not,
Right.
you know, like,
Right.
come on, man.
Right.
So, but they don't take a second to actually talk about, like, you know, the Jiro stuff. And it's
Right.
like, okay. So obviously you have it. I mean, Blackfin was a little bit different, man, because that one, see, like Blackfin, you go and you read about it, and then, you know, you go and you can pull the news stories that were happening at the time. It's like, oh, I didn't know about this. Got it. You know, so that was actually pretty decent, you know.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the facts, a lot of that's completely true.
Yeah.
And Blackfin did fucking bite that arm off and
Did drown that lady.
drown that lady
Yeah.
and scalp that person. I mean, so this shit happened.
It did happen.
And the footage of when they were capturing him in the first place, and
That was
and
real.
It's like that's all real because
Yeah.
they were talking about sea land and all that other stuff. Now the parts where they get into it and they're like, it turns out that they have brains that are bigger in these spots. And
Oh, right.
may actually be more emotional than human beings. I'm like, nah. It's like, because then you fuckers would be like writing Mozart.
Right, exactly. Then you guys would have JDMs and FPV drones. Yeah.
Never seen a fucking,
Show me your human zoo.
never seen one of you bitch asses drive a stick shift. It's like. No, because when it comes down to it, too, and it's like, and if you're that smart, you would be the dominant species, and sharks will fuck you up 10 times out of 10.
Oh.
It's about firearms, Patrick.
Oh,
we
okay,
came,
I got
we
you,
came
I
down
got
to this
you.
before.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
if you're the smartest thing, right? Sharks wouldn't fuck you up. Sharks be afraid of you.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Actually, orcas do fuck up sharks. So,
They get in fights.
orcas will bite their livers out and kill them instantly.
Look,
It's gross.
they
So,
will.
They will.
But they will also get chomped the fucked up.
They do get chomped up.
If-
You're just thinking of Jaws 2? So that shark's kind of an outlier.
Look, I don't think they scrap all that off.
No,
to tell
they
you the
don't,
truth. I
yeah.
think they sort of, if I recall correctly, I don't even think they like the same waters.
They don't.
Yeah, I think
not.
they don't come across too often. But yeah, that's sort of the thing. Is when they do this speculation and they're like, okay, well, at least you said it could be. All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'll give you that much. But
Yeah.
but yeah, most of the stuff in there was true, and that's okay. That's
Yeah, I mean, there's a little finger wagging, and you're like supposed to think that SeaWorld is the bad guy, even though they're the ones who took him in from Sealand,
Yes,
which didn't
yes.
exist anymore. And the fact that the documentarians there weren't willing to cut even a little bit of slack on that one
Right.
was a little telling. So, but I mean, I think like not very many people go into documentaries without an axe to grind. So, I mean, it's just you can find some here and there. Occasionally you get like, I want to tell all about baseball, and that's great, okay? But you're still going to get to spin it. Baseball's awesome, out of it. But it's like, okay, why wouldn't you do this if you felt that way? Got it.
That's a fair point.
know?
I would not want to watch. I probably wouldn't want to see a documentary from a guy that's like, here is 14 episodes about a sport I fucking hate.
No, that's what YouTube is for.
I don't know if I have time for that. I just don't think the
No, I don't have time.
I don't think the product is. You know what? And that's the other thing is that's what all those Netflix and Hulu and all those other documentaries felt like. They felt like cash-in documentaries. So like they would do the
totally
ones.
Are, man. Yeah.
They would do the ones about like that concert that fell apart. The Fire Festival.
Yeah.
They made like 3 of these.
Well, yeah, they tried to turn that guy into some kind of like huckster, and it's like he's just a rich dick. Come on, man.
I mean, he's also a huckster.
He's also a huckster, but this is
what businessman isn't? I mean,
lots, but
No, I mean, there's to some extent there has to be a little bit of P.T. Barnum in you for you to like actually pitch an idea.
Like that, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like something like that, yeah. So, and it's obviously somebody's playing with somebody else's money. So, nobody likes to see that happen. So, but like, there's a lot of other things where, the documentaries, like I mean, even back then, you couldn't watch anything that had anything to do on economics because you were going to get like capitalism bad, out of it real fast. Okay. The same thing.
You would occasionally get capitalism rules.
Those were Dinesh D'Souza ones. That's a little different. That guy was at least pretty straight up about what he was doing. So,
well, yeah, his would open as like, so I was in jail.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that guy's just as much of a huckster. He's just, I mean, his it says it on his business card.
In like raised letter.
Right, he's like, this is nice.
Impressive.
Nice.
Yeah,
exactly. Is this metal?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and you couldn't do anything with any of the political ones. They were just horrifyingly bad.
Oh, that incredibly just that masturbatory documentary about Hillary Clinton was.
I didn't go anywhere near that thing, man. So, I mean, you could see that one coming from a mile away. I mean, like Super Size Me was like, that's kind of interesting. That one was like, fucking get the car out of the garage now, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, because I mean, that was the thing. Was there were things in. The thing about Super Size Me was that it had spilled over from documentary to basically societal zeitgeist. There were things that people would talk about. It's like, did you see that thing where they put the burger in the jar and it doesn't dissolve because there's no real food in it?
Oh, remember pink slime, Jeff? Pink slime.
Do you remember the pink slime?
I remember pink slime. So yeah, that's not really chicken in your nuggies. So
it's not. It's like, what is it?
It's pink slime.
And it turns out, look, it is chicken.
It is chicken.
It is. Well, look,
it's washed and pressed chicken. It's chicken. So.
It's chicken. Here's the. I'm going to tell you the secret, Patrick. The secret that people don't like.
Huh?
When you go to the deli counter.
Yeah.
At Albertsons.
Those
are not the shape of like fresh meat.
Wait a minute, there's not a bologna animal out there that they just like.
There's not, because here's the thing, like, did you ever find like a rib in a bologna?
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was a different part of the animal. Yeah.
Like. But no, it's the pink slime and the nuggies.
Yeah, right.
Because all you have a choice is like, do you want it turkey, or do you want it like, what is the shitty Jamaican Jack turkey? Because it's like all you have in there is basically this or the low sodium version of this. It's all been like. Put through that grinder that we love so much.
Right, and turns it into nuggies.
And they shape it and put some stuff in it. Yeah. I'm sorry. To draw the line and say, like, nuggies, forget about it. Like, you ever had a fucking ham sandwich?
Yeah. Point to the pig where that perfectly round piece of ham came from, yeah.
Like, what? what muscle does pepperoni come from? I'm like,
It's got pepperoncinis in it. Yeah.
you draw the line at such arbitrary points.
Jesus just ate the olives, you know?
Is there a bone or like a beak or like
And your nugget.
No, I just breaded it and fried it. I'm like, why is this so much horrible? And I love everything at that counter.
Sure.
Like, I've tried most of it. But yeah, it's just so weird the lines that we draw here with this kind of stuff.
Well, they're doing it to make a point, man. I mean,
It's
you know,
fair,
you
yeah.
got someone who's like invested in that. Maybe they don't want to see farm animals get slaughtered. Got it, okay?
Sure.
Make that argument, okay? And maybe you're doing that in some ways that are productive. But, you know, I mean, like the thing that I mean, and with just about everything anymore, I mean, he had a very low tolerance for finger wagging because...
Yes.
You know, we've been getting wagged at for probably a good 20 years now on a number of things.
Yeah.
And I do blame Man Bear Pig for this, you know. So in a lot of ways, he's kind of the guy. And then he went through a resurgence, and then he went down again, and then he kind of resurged again. And now nobody pays attention to him again, you know. So... But, like, you know, he goes out and he makes this documentary, one that I showed in class several times.
You did?
Oh, fuck
Yes. Yeah.
So it's got some good parts in it. But then, like, as time went on, you started to realize it was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not accurate. Okay, that's not accurate. Now, fair enough, you didn't know that when you cut this. So, okay. You know, but I'm going to stop showing this. But then, like, I still have people that I run into, oh, yeah, you know, like, you gotta show the documentary, blah, blah, blah. And when we're talking about this, like, that thing is fucking 20 years old, man. It is not accurate anymore. But it was the finger wagging that went on with it. And then, to his credit, I mean, he's not a bad dude. He wasn't even a bad politician. So, he's a great senator in a lot of ways and stuff like that. But he showed other people how to do it. So, and then some other people just were like, oh, well, you know, screw all the science stuff. I'm just going to go right to the finger wagging, you know, because that looks fun, you know.
Well, you're absolutely right. In the same way, I think Al Gore sort of he became his generation's Jimmy Carter, where it's like you kind of do more out of office than you did in office. Right.
Yeah. No, and I mean, he did take an L in 2000 that was questionable. So, you know, clearly. So, and then on top of it, you know, George W., as much as I like him, he's going to wear his Iraq decision around his gravestone. So, you know, and so there's always going to be the question about, like, well, what if the other guy?
All right. The thing that so there has been some recent controversy, and rightly so, especially with just 2 weeks until the election, that there has been some incredible spending lately, where you take a look at that GDP thing, and you look at that 30-something trillion, and you see the spike here in the past month.
In the past month?
Yeah.
On what? On government spending?
Yeah.
Just in the past month? On what?
I believe, I don't remember everything about it, but I thought it had a lot to do with trying to, it was, what was it for? It was basically trying to, like, ease out of the recession.
Well, that was from COVID, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but...
those are all the COVID checks that we got. That's the big spike that goes from, like, 2012, it's like, yeah, and then, like, 2020 is brah.
Well, 2020 is this, and what you see here is at the tail end, like right here, there's another, it's like a steady, and then... Whoosh,
you know what? It's probably interest payments. So,
that may be part of it. But it was something that was recently done. And I'm looking at this here, and like you're talking about, because you looked at that low spot at like 2012 and stuff like this, and here's the thing. Again, there's it's low there, but then again, it goes like high, and you talk about like Bush was like, where did all this money get spent? Oh, it's on those wars.
It wasn't as much as people think it is. The big thing
It wasn't free.
No, it wasn't free, but you're talking about like $1 trillion expense over 15 years. That's not that big a deal. So,
but that's
You know,
wasn't that sort of like the tip of the iceberg in terms of like that's like it doesn't include the knock-on effect of all the spending, like ancillary spending and all that other stuff, or was that?
Yeah, but like after the initial checks go out, that becomes really difficult to measure, and so it's all dependent on individuals' assumptions. So if you actually look at the federal budget, the two killer items always are
Military?
No, not even close.
Services?
Nope.
Interest?
Nope. It's like
medical
2/3
care?
of the budget. Yep. What kind?
Elderly?
Medcare. Yep. So Medicare, and then the second one is Social Security. So when someone says that you have and we don't have a $30 trillion deficit, you have a $30 trillion debt.
Yes.
Okay, so but if you look at like where most of the debt gets contributed to, it's by the deficit spending on those two programs right there. That's 2/3 of it.
Right.
And then like the military and the rest of the federal government are basically tied. So, so if you want to, like you look at TAMP or SNAP or anything, like food stamps or fucking even Biden paying off people's college debt, it's nothing. So, I mean...
Stop saying it's nothing. It's not...
Okay, so it's a couple F-22s, So
those ain't free either.
Those ain't free either, but they're all deferred over time. I mean, it's not like we cut Boeing a check for it right off the bat. We just, send them money every couple months.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's not like we show up at the store and they say, well, you break it, you buy it. It's like, no, man. We'll cover the expenses for you having to manufacture them. So, and that's like how shit in the military gets cheaper over time. If you buy more of it, it gets cheaper. So, which is why they stopped buying F-22s, because they're too fucking expensive.
Well, and they're fine. And the other thing is they're not... They don't need to be replaced for a very long time.
No. And
they're
doing the F-35 because the F-35 does a lot different things. The F-22 does one thing. Better
than anything else on the planet.
To the point in time where they're like trying to rig it out where people don't have to fly it because that's the
limitation. That's the thing is what is the need for an air superiority fighter in a drone world? I mean, it's weird.
It's a good question. So, like, first and foremost, an air superiority fighter will be able to outfly any drone. So,
yes,
there is no drone technology that can go as fast as that thing can.
No, of course not. It's yeah.
And the other thing is like what they're doing now, like the Navy in particular, but the Air Force is doing this too, is they're building like the F-22 into like a command plane.
Oh,
where it has, because it's got a dude in it who's a professional fighter pilot.
Yeah.
Well, if he's manning that plane and controlling a couple dozen drones at the same time, he's basically a one-man Air Force. So, but anyway, back to the spending. So that's like military and services are about 50-50, and then there's a big chunk of that. It's about 10 to 15%, and this is probably the part that's spiking is interest. Because the national debt is all in T-bills, okay?
Yeah.
This is like people say, oh, China's going to call. They can't. They have to wait till they fucking mature.
Right.
Okay? So that's just how that works, man. Unless they want to sell them on the open market, fine. We're not going to pay those fuckers either until they mature, okay? But you have to pay the interest payment on them every single year. If you don't pay the interest payments, then that's when people get fucking nervous about the debt.
Right.
So, but the debt is, it is coming in, but like... Dude, Harris is like Quentin the shark right now. She's got that little knife. It's not gonna work. It is bad, man.
She came out today, spoke for 3 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Called Trump Hitler.
Oh no, she said that.
No.
John Kelly said that he was Hitler or something like that.
Basically, he approved of some of Hitler's policies. And
no, specifically he said that he preferred to have generals like Hitler had.
Right.
Because he was insulting John Kennedy for being a shitty general.
Then she said that this was an avenue for him to fulfill his quote-unquote darkest desires.
Right, yes, to become a dictator. She did say that.
And then after 3.5 minutes went right back inside and said nothing.
No, she wasn't going to take any questions. She's doing a town hall tonight, though. So
I saw some of that town hall.
Did you? How was it? It was at CNN, so I assume it was a very friendly pool. So,
Patrick?
Yeah?
She got embarrassed by Anderson Cooper.
Okay. I'll have to watch some of it tomorrow, man. So
She is unhinged in the way that she's answering questions at this point.
yeah, she's floundering, man. So
I mean, she looks fucking... She sounds nuts. Watch that part, man. And here's the thing, is it's Anderson Cooper, right? So
he's not exactly unfriendly, man.
No, he is the ladder for the Globetrotters. Okay, this is the thing. He's not... Yeah, he's an accessory to this. Okay? And that's fine, because, look, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, everything is done here basically based on what happens this Friday.
What's going on this Friday?
Donald Trump will be on Rogan this Friday.
Oh.
And if he...
Yeah.
Well, no, because here's the thing. Joe Rogan reaches more audience than all of the networks put together.
How much of his audience would vote for Harris, though?
Here's the thing, is the reason I say it hinges on this is if he, for whatever reason, says something absolutely stupid and devastating, it could crater him. But, that being said, that's the last thing that would cause any major sway one way or the other.
Well, some shoots him, so...
Well, okay, well... I think that's a given, yes, that's a good point.
Right,
yes,
but still, I mean...
Right.
Like, the thing that I've been looking at is the early voting. Have you looked at any of this? Mm-hmm. It is terrible for her.
Yes.
It is awful, and... I didn't realize the Republicans were doing this because I don't watch them too closely, but apparently all these PACs out there have been telling everybody, vote early.
Yep.
Get your shit in, and like that's a complete 180 from the last election.
Yep.
So, and it's working. So, and notice he hasn't said shit about that. Mm-mm. Yeah, so...
This is Hitlerian, his guys have been... It would please the Fuhrer if he did this.
Work towards the Fuhrer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, I saw some preliminary numbers. And of course, they're not counting them yet because you can't. Okay, but they can call up the people who, because they're on the register, all right? And they say, okay, this guy's already submitted your vote. And they can call them up and they can pull them. So, and it's terrible for her. So even like just a couple of weeks ago, they're saying, oh, she's got Wisconsin stitched up. And now they're like, no, actually she doesn't.
No.
And basically they're basically fucked in Pennsylvania. So they're even saying Nevada's not going to vote for her now, which is the one that just 2 weeks ago I was hearing people say that the SEIU is going to show up on the day of polling.
That's what you told me, yeah.
And apparently they're still planning on doing that, but all the rural voters out in Nevada are like, fuck that. So I got my ballot, let's go. So,
The Trump camp signed up 180,000 Amish.
Yeah,
in Pennsylvania.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that. So, because they don't live in Philadelphia.
Well, I guess that was one of their strategies, was not just that, but also trying to find where... So, Philadelphia had somewhat of an exodus.
It has.
Yeah, where...
well, it was burning itself down actively.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, that was... I didn't know how to say it, and you just put it out there, and you're right. And so they were trying to find where those people went and sign them up as much as possible.
Yep. I didn't realize they had been spending that much money, because you don't... you really have to be in the weeds to actually see how much each campaign is spending and on what. So, but I've got a TV show that I've been watching where they kind of go through that a little bit, and the Trump campaign has not been outspending her, but they've been very, very targeted about what they've been doing, and it's almost all early registration and early voting. Yep. And that's why you don't hear much about it, because we're not in a state where they expect to win. So, but in all those states where you have early registration and early voting, they've been hitting it hard, and like going to people and explaining exactly how much, like it costs like $100 for us to market to someone who's going to vote on voter day. It costs us $8 to vote and to market to someone who's going to vote tomorrow. So, and people are like, oh, well, that fucking makes sense, So,
Yep.
yeah, and so, like it's a complete 180. See, I think that's actually a good thing, in some respects. Not just because it's going to help him, but more so because, like...
That's what actual grassroots movements are like.
Well, and that's what it's like, but also at the same point in time, I mean, like... If you're vested in it, get her done.
Yep.
Call it good. Just sit back and watch. So stop with all the crazy, man. So
stop with all the crazy. And what you called it. But I mean, it's not just. This is going to be that. People hate Hollywood now. This is the
really
thing.
Man.
Yeah, and
it's bad. So
there's this thing where you go back a couple of days. And yes, I understand that certain things are set up. It's all set up. But here's the thing is, on Harris's birthday, her tweets are, I'm celebrating with Stevie Wonder, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And Trump is... I'm at McDonald's.
That was the most epic troll, man. So, and he's got like that picture where he's waving at. It looks like something out of Norman Rockwell.
It
man.
absolutely does. Yes.
It's like he could be the druggist. Kind of. You just filled your prescription, sir. So, give Mildred my best.
He is. I mean, yeah. He came out of that book, and I mean, again, it's people are. The people that like it. The people that are making fun of it were going to make fun of it before. But I mean, when it comes down to it, it is absolutely bizarre that the billionaire on this ticket, right?
Yeah.
Who's campaigning with the billionaire of billionaires, right? Elon Musk.
Yeah, that guy might get in trouble though. So we'll see.
I don't know how he can get in trouble with.
You can't bribe. It's not really a bribe. I understand what
I
understand what he's doing, but he is walking very close to a very hot fire. So,
bro, after this election,
yeah,
there are so many things that have to be stripped apart and looked inside. The engines of this. So basically, the Act Blue organization needs to be investigated from top to bottom.
Well, if they're not going to win, then I mean,
no. That's dirty, right?
Yeah.
That has to be sussed out.
I don't know that much about that.
The $50 million that supposedly Bill Gates put in has to be investigated.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is on both sides from top to bottom. Look,
I don't think you're going to get that though, man. Because if he gets in there, he's going to just start doing victory laps, and he's not going to do all these investigations and shit. So
I'm not saying he should. I'm saying it should be done.
Well, yeah, but I mean. Who's going to do it? Who's the guy who's going to have to tell him to do it? There you go.
So I nominate you.
No, man. I like my job.
I got stuff to do too.
I got shit to do, man. I got games to play. Look, man. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and it's like one of those things where she was, yapping about something on the election, and she's like, "Wow, you can take me over to the library, and I'll turn in my vote." And as soon as she turned it in, she was like, "I'm good." So,
I said my piece.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, "I'm out."
Yeah. Actually, do you have the? Did you turn yours in already?
No, I got to go through the Blue Book over the weekend. Because there's a lot of shit. To me, there's a lot of shit in the Blue Book that's more important than anything else on
Okay,
there.
do me a favor, because I don't have the Blue Book. Okay,
all right.
This could actually be kind of a funny episode.
I got 2 of them. I'll bring it over.
Why don't you bring it over?
Okay.
And our next episode,
Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, we'll
do the thing.
We'll do the thing.
Okay. We'll do the thing.
We'll do the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, because there's some shit on there that.
Because I don't know what the I don't have the book, so there's a couple of these. I don't know what these are.
There's not that many this year, but 2 or 3 of them are actually pretty fucking important. So I'll have to look at them.
I just want to see if the biggest thing for me is I need to see if these are judges that we keep.
Oh, I know who to ask about that.
Could you?
Yeah, the answer is
That'd be
usually
okay.
yes. So, since several of them are friends. Yeah. So that's my rule. If you know someone and they're on the ballot, you kind of vote for them, man. You know. So,
All right.
yeah.
Unless you hear it's like, do not vote for him.
I will tell you which ones are on that side of the ledger. So
Like, that guy has gotten away with some rapes. You know, or whatever it is. It's like,
it's not Hazard County or man. Come on, bro. Yeah.
all right.
All right, deadweight.
Yeah.
I'm Pat.
There we go. I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Yeah. Thank you.